It's time for the quarterdeck with Gunny Signs.
This is Miguel, the Gunny Signs, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Quarterdeck. This is episode 9. I believe that's where we're at right now. And when we left off last week, we were talking about how had just arrived down there to Camp Pendleton, California, down there to receiving JRC, the Joint Reception Center. That is where all the newly trained Marines from their Military Occupation Specialty, or MOS, schools arrive to down there on Camp Pendleton so they can get the orientation, the training, all those things that they need prior to actually going to their first unit. So we're sitting there for a week. I arrived there on a Monday, and we're going to be there all the way up until Friday. So we had our classes, we had all our briefs letting us know of, the off-limit locations that were around there, what was around the Camp Pendleton area, some of the local things that were out there, so we knew exactly where they were. Before I knew it, it was Friday, and it was finally time for us to actually get picked up by our unit. Now, we already had all of our stuff already packed. Our sea bags are ready to go, and we were sitting there waiting outside on a parking lot waiting for them to come pick us up. It must have been, I would say, about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon before they actually came and picked us up. I guess that was normal time back then for them to pick everybody up down there from the Joint Reception Center, even though we were kind of the last ones that were still sitting there waiting. We're sitting there, the 6 of us that just came down there from Fort Sill, and we were expecting a bus or a van or something to pick us up. And all of a sudden, we just hear this loud truck coming down in the parking lot. It was a 925 series truck, which was a 5-ton truck. So I'm like, all right, so here we go. I guess they're going to put all of our sea bags inside of the truck, and then we're going to wait for the bus or the van. That was not the case. Out of the truck, a young corporal jumped out of the truck and started telling us to get out, get all our stuff, throw it in the back of the truck, and hurry up and get in there because they had places to go and things that they had to go do. So, we grabbed all our stuff, threw it in the back of the truck, and we're sitting there waiting for something else to come pick us up. He looked at us and said,
What the heck y'all doing? Get your asses back in the back of the truck. That's how we're getting there.
We're like, all right, okay. So we got in the back of the truck, and this thing, if you look at this thing, it's an older style truck. Kind of like, I guess you could look at it, it's kind of like the ones that they used back in Vietnam, those 800 series trucks that were manual transmission. It looked like that, but it was more of a boxy look. It had the tricolor camouflage color that they had back in the older utility uniforms that were worn back then. So it looked like that. The engine was loud, not a loud diesel engine. You could hear this thing. It was loud. Big old giant tires. Me, I'm 5'5" dude. I'm sitting in the tires. The tires come up to like my chest and stuff. So it's pretty good giant sized tires and everything. So here we are trying to get in the back. There's no ladder back there. All there is a little handle to pull the tailgate up. So we stepped on that thing and we get in the back of the truck. Now, remember, like I said, whenever you check into any unit, you are wearing your service alpha uniform. So we were in alphas. And then here we are getting in the back of this truck that who knows when's the last time is that this thing was clean. There's no way to keep dust or anything out of the back of these trucks. So we all jump in there, and there's 2 benches back there. There's a bench on both sides of the truck. They're both fold down benches that have a wood top on them, so you're sitting on wood, and they're in the back of the truck. They told us to go ahead and put the truce strap up, and we looked at each other like, what the heck's a truce strap? It was this long green looking thing that was attached by a hook on one side of the back of the truck, and you attach that to the other side. This is a green, maybe out. If you think about it, it's like a strap, one of those little straps that you strap things down, but it's made out of like nylon, so it's very flimsy looking. And you attach it with these 2 clips, and that is supposed to keep you in the back of the truck in case something happens. In other words, that's why they call it a troop strap. It's supposed to stop the troops from the back of the truck from falling out of the back of the truck. You can imagine, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have probably fallen out of there in the past, but then this was created to prevent that from happening. Jokes on me. I don't know if that stuff really works, but that's what it's there for. But hey, the lowest bidder built that thing, the government bought it, and now it's in the back of the truck. So we're loaded in the back of the truck, and we're getting ready to go. We hear the engine rev up loud, and we start going on our ways. Now, these trucks don't have the greatest suspension in the world. I mean, these things bounce in every single little bounce on the road. So here we are going boom, boom. If you can imagine, we're sitting there going through there looking like Ace Ventura driving down the road going shitty, shitty, bang, bang, shitty, shitty, bang, bang, all down the road and stuff. Our sea bags are flopping up and down because they're not strapped down. They're just thrown down there in the back with us back there. So they're going this way and they're going that way and we're driving. Now, when we start going down there, remember we were down there in the main side area where the exchange is, the commissary, all those things over there in Camp Pendleton, California. So we were kind of used to being down that way, and now we were going somewhere that we had no idea where the heck we were going. The only thing that we knew was they were taking us down to a small camp that was called Camp Las Flores. So somewhere down there in Camp Pendleton, but we had no idea where the heck it was. So we start going down the main road down there again, and we get down towards the bottom of the little hill, and there's a fork on the road. One of them goes down Basilon Road, and the other one continues down Vandergrift, which I remember that Vandergrift Road is the one that took us all the way back down to the main gate, or the front gate where we came in from when we originally got there. Well, instead of going straight, we took a right going down towards Basilon Road. Now, as soon as you take that right, you can see the air station or the airfield right there to the left-hand side of you where they got helicopters. And I saw like a C-130 looking plane there, but I come to find out that those things aren't there all the time. It's just, I guess I made a pit stop there in Pendleton for something. But it was there. So we take that right-hand turn. We're going over a small little bridge and everything that goes there to goes across, I guess what's supposed to be a creek, but down there in California, you know, a creek is not what, you know, you come to know down there if you live down there on the East Coast. So we keep going down that road, and we're looking out the back of the truck because that's the only place that we can actually look at, and we don't see anything. All we see is like small hills covered in what's supposed to be grass, but it's kind of brown. And we're going and just driving and driving, and it seems like we're driving forever. Then we finally get down. We drive a good ways. I guess if I could estimate it, it was probably maybe about 10 miles down that road all the way down. And then we took a left-hand turn when we got to a little camp called Las Pulgas. We took a left there and then kept going straight. We kept going there. Now, one thing that I noticed down there when we got to the left-hand turn there at Las Pulgas, it said Las Pulgas, home of the 11th Marines. Now, remember, I had orders to go down there to 5th Battalion, 11th Marines. So I thought we were getting close to being there and stuff because it said 11th Marines, so obviously we were there. Oh, nope, that's not the case. It so happened that our unit, 5th Battalion, 11th Marines, was down there in Camp Las Flores. So we were kind of separated from the rest of the battalion. We weren't there. We were down there in Las Flores. 111, 211 was down there in Las Pulgas, and 311, they were way out in 29 Palms in California. So they were by their lones themselves. So you can imagine, you know, they were down there alone. Nobody in the battalion was actually, you know, messing with them or anything, or not the battalion, I mean the regiment. And nobody, the regimental commander, wasn't close to there to, you know, be there every single day. So I guess that was a plus for us too, because we were down there in Las Flores. And anyway, we continued to go down there past Las Pulgas, made it out of the little area where that camp was at, and here we go again, going down a road with nothing there. I was kind of surprised that there were actually some trees down there on the left and right-hand side of the road as we start going down that way. So here we are traveling on Las Pulgas Road, going out there towards the ocean, because we can actually see the ocean out there in the far distance. So we're like, man, we're going down to the coast. When we get down towards the end of the road, there is another little Y on the road. One road goes straight and one goes towards the left. There's another gate there. We didn't realize that there was another gate to get out of down there in Camp Pendleton, but this was the Las Pulgas gate that took you out there to the Interstate 5, where you can actually get off the base again. We turned left and started going down that road, and went up a slight little hill, and now I can actually see the ocean and I can hear it. I can hear the seagulls flying around, you know, making their squawking noises, and we could actually hear the surf. You know, and the ocean wasn't that close to us, but we could see it, we could hear it. So it was kind of nice. I was like, man, I'm going to have some beachfront property wherever the heck they're taking us. So we continue on that road for maybe about another mile, go up a slight little hill, and then here we are. We see the sign that says Camp Las Flores. So we're like, woo, yes, we finally made it. So we get down there to Las Flores, and we turn left into that small camp, and then a very quick right. And what they did, they stopped in front of the actual battalion building. So it said, welcome to the home of 5th Battalion, 11th Marines. There's a flagpole out in the back, so you can see the flag flying out there in the wind. And it was a brown building. It was a 2-story building that had about 10 to 12 windows towards the front. So I'm assuming that those were the offices, because I had no idea what it was back then. But as soon as we got there, there was another NCO, another corporal that was standing outside with a clipboard. And as soon as we got off of the truck, they got us into formation, and they started calling our names one by one to make sure that we were all there. Once they knew that we were all there, then we had a couple of NCOs that came over there, and they moved us in a quick and eagerly manner. Okay, of course, as you know, they're not going to tell you, hey, please grab your stuff here, move nicely, get over here, and then we're going to go there. Hell no. It was more like, grab your shit, get over here. Take that seat bag, put it on your back. We're going to get out of here. Let's go. It was, like that. That was the basic way that the NCOs talk to you as being a new join coming to their units. So we finally get checked in. We go down there to the battery office, which is what is known as like the company office, but we call it a battery since we are going to be attached to different batteries there at the battalion. Now, I was going to be assigned to Sierra Battery in 5th Battalion, 11th Marines. Now, like I had mentioned earlier, 6 of us were going to be assigned to Sierra Battery down there in 5th Battalion, 11th Marines. Now, there was a total of 10 of us that actually came down there to go to 511. The rest of the other Marines that were there with us, 2 of them went down there to Romeo Battery, and 2 went to Tango Battery. So Sierra Battery got lucky because they got the most of us that actually had graduated from the most recent class down there from Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Once we were all finally accounted for, they make sure that we were there. They had us go ahead and square away our alphas to make sure that we look presentable, because the next step was that they were going to take us in to meet our commanding officer. Now, our commanding officer was inside of that brown building with all the windows. As soon as we walked into the double doors that were standing there in front of the flagpole, we walked in, we took a right down the hallway. Now, once we went down the hallway, we went all the way to the far end of the actual building, and they had to stand there right there against the wall. We stood there, and I waited patiently just to make sure that I didn't know what to expect. I mean, yeah, we're going to meet our commanding officer. It's a captain, so he's the one that's going to be in charge of us. So I want to make sure that we looked as squared away as we possibly could, because, hey, as you know, first impressions are the most important. So we wanted to make sure that we looked the most presentable that we possibly could. We're adjusting our belts, making sure that our ribbons are straight. Well, the one ribbon that we had, all we had was the Firewatch ribbon, but yet everybody gets that one when they graduated recruit training. So, oh well. So we looked at it. Then one of the NCOs came over there, like, hey,
y'all might want to fix that.
And we looked at him like, what, Corporal?
Hey, your ribbon's upside down. You might want to fix that.
All of us being retarded, we looked down at our chest. That ribbon can be put on either way. There is no right side up or right side down. Being boots, we had no really idea, or we didn't think anything of it. So we all looked down like a bunch of retards just to double check to make sure and see if our ribbon was really upside down. And the only thing that we really had to worry about was that we had the ribbon, and then we had our rifle badge that was right underneath that. So now that we all had checked to make sure that our ribbon wasn't upside down, we make sure that the gig line and our belts and our M buckles was good to go, and that there was nothing wrong with our shoes or anything of that nature. Then finally, the first stop we made before we went to go see a CO was actually to see the first sergeant. Now, when we walked in there, the first sergeant, he introduced himself, and he told us that he wasn't expecting any crap from us, that we're supposed to do the right thing, don't do anything stupid, take care of each other, and then welcome us to the unit. Now, of course, he didn't use those kind words and everything. He wanted to make sure that we understood that we were there at the unit. Our unit was the best, blah, blah, blah. All those things that pretty much any first sergeant is going to tell you. Then he had to stand back outside the wall again. Then he walked into the commanding officer's office. He went in there and talked to him for a little while. And then he told us, okay, when I tell you, you're going to go inside, you're going to march in front of his office, and all of you are going to stop in front of his office. You in the back, which was me. He said, when I tell you to come in, you'll go ahead and give him the command of forward march, give him a column left, and then you're going to halt him in front of the CO's desk. He looked at me, he's like, you do know how to do that, right? And I was like, yes, First Sergeant. I had a general idea, but I really hadn't done drill in a long time since I graduated high school. And I was the battalion commander there at my high school. So being on the drill team and stuff, I had a general idea. But I had the Army mentality from then. So I had to reach into my inner Marine Corps and actually do it the right way. So First Sergeant's inside there and he's like, go ahead, get in here. So in my most motivated voice, I grab a hold, and I said, forward. March, left, right, left, right, left, right, lobe, right, column left, march, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, detail, ho! And we all stopped right there in front of the CO's office. Then I gave everybody a nice sharp right. We all faced to the right. We're all still standing there at attention, so we were there. And then the CO looked at us at ease. So we all got into a modified parade rest and started listening to what the CO had to say. Same thing pretty much that the First Sergeant told us to make sure that we did the right thing, that he was there to make sure that we take care of us, and he was happy that we were there to be a great addition to the unit, that they were eager and they were expecting us to get there to make sure that our numbers went back up and that we made the unit even better by us being there. Then he asked us if we had any questions or any concerns about us being there, if we had any administrative issues that he needed to be aware of. Now, all of us knew better. We weren't going to bring things up directly up to the commanding officer. We're going to make sure that we followed our chain of command, let our NCOs know, staff NCOs, and then eventually it would get to the First Sergeant and the commanding officer. None of us had any issues or anything like that, so he went ahead and dismissed us. We went ahead and marched out. And then we went back in the hallway and stood there at parade rest. Once they were done with us, then it was time to meet our battery gunnery sergeant. Let me tell you, back then, I really had no idea what to expect or what the heck a battery gunnery sergeant really did. Now, I mean, in Fort Sill, we had one there in the barracks where we were staying at, but we hardly ever saw him. We had no idea who the heck he was. So we went in there. He introduced himself to us. Now, the battery gunnery sergeant, what he is the highest enlisted 0811 or artillery cannoneer that the battery has. So he's been there for a while. He's kind of been there, done it, done that kind of mentality. So he's a book full of knowledge of everything that comes to deal with artillery. So we get into his office. He calls us in there. And he's like, get your ass in here. Let me tell you something. If you think you know everything that you know from Fort Sill and you learned everything about artillery, you're full of shit because you don't know anything. You're here. You're going to learn everything. We're going to teach you. And you need to make sure that you pay attention and learn everything that these NCOs that I have here in my battery know about and know how to do it. Everything you learned over there, forget it. Because you're going to learn everything here the way that it's done out in the fleet, and we're going to learn it the correct way. And you're going to see that there's a lot of things that you're still going to learn. Do you understand that? Yes, Gunnery Sergeant. All of us yelled together. But let me tell you, that was a motivated little speech that he gave us and really got us kind of going stuff and everything. So it kind of got me excited about me being there, ready to start our new little adventure down there with our unit. So once we were done with all that stuff and everything, we had our linen for our racks to where we were going to be sleeping at. And then one of the other NCOs told us to go grab our stuff. We grabbed our stuff. We got outside in a small little detail formation. They marched us down there to the barracks to where we were going to be staying at. Now, from the battalion, there was only two really main roads that were down there in Las Flores. One of them was right towards the front where you first came in, and the other one you followed to the right all the way down to the other end. You took a left again, and that will bring you back in a big giant circle back down there towards the exit down there from Las Flores, where our barracks were down towards the entrance. So we were down there at battalion, and we headed back down that main road, took a right, And our barracks were down there right in front. You can actually see the main road from our rooms in the barracks, and you could see the ocean from there. Now, this building that we were at had 3 floors on it. Sierra Battery just happened to be on the 2nd floor. So we were down there on the 2nd floor of the barracks, and they assigned us to a couple of rooms when we first got there. Now, there was 6 of us. Okay, there was 3 of us we were married, so we were only going to be in the rooms there while our spouses were not there with us at the time. So they assigned us to a room. Now, we all got kind of lucky because all of us got put in pairs in a single room. A lot of the rooms there had 4 Marines inside of the rooms, but we were lucky there was only 2 of us there because they had enough rooms to make sure that they put us there together. Now, I remember when we first got there, we put all our junk in there. Now, remember, we're still inside of our alphas. We haven't changed out of our alphas or anything. So we finally get there. They tell us to go ahead and change over. Then we get into camis if we like. And then eventually we ended up hitting the rack or going to sleep. They told us that the very next morning we were going to get up in the morning and get back dressed in our alphas again one more time. Reason being is because the next morning we were going to go meet the battalion sergeant major and the battalion commander. And let me tell you, that is an experience in its own. Okay. Now, I remember we walked it upstairs because their office was down there on the 2nd deck of the big brown building with all the windows. They were on there on the 2nd deck or the 2nd floor. And here was the office of our sergeant major. Now, I remember sergeant major that I had back then. His name was Sergeant Major Trescott. And let me tell you, this is like a 6'6" guy. Big, giant, white dude, built like a freaking tank. He's sitting there on his desk, and right behind him, where he's sitting down on his desk, he's got a picture of him back there in the back with his campaign cover on top of that. So as soon as we walked in there, we're like, oh God, we're still friggin' boots coming straight out of our MOS school, so we're still terrified of our drill instructors, because we're thinking that they're going to jump out of nowhere all of a sudden, and then we're going to see him again. And here is our battalion sergeant major. He was a drill instructor, had his stuff up there and everything, and he still had the mentality and the way that he spoke. It wasn't a very quiet and very sweet little voice that he had when he talked to us. So he introduced himself and he told us that he wasn't going to take any crap, that if we did anything stupid, he was going to make sure that he did NJP us and that we got busted down in rank, and to make sure that we stayed away from all the drugs and everything that was going to be out there, and to make sure that we stayed away from the bad crowd of Marines that might be there. Because like anywhere else, he said, we have our bad seeds. So don't let one bad seed spoil the whole bunch that I have here in front of me. Which, later on down the years, I kind of understood what he meant by that. I want to make sure that, did the right thing. So we got to meet him, and then he took us 2 offices down to actually meet our battalion commander. He introduced himself to us. He told us how we were assigned to one of the best batteries that was there in the battalion, that he expected great things from us, and that he was extremely glad that he was there. Now, everybody's experience from them going from their actual MOS school down there to their first unit is completely different. I know that the experience that I had is a lot different than probably what a lot of you had. And those of you that are maybe out there thinking about coming into the military, your experiences are going to actually be different too as well. But this is just, for me, as far as being a Marine and what it's going to be like. So, that experience was, something that I'm not going to be able to experience again, because this is the first time that I actually got into the fleet. I went to my first duty station, and here I am. Now I'm ready to learn everything. I'm ready to do the things that I want to do. I want to learn everything, and I want to be all gung-ho and all those things that any young individual that has just came into the service wants to do. So as you can see, our adventure down there from coming down from JRC to our first unit was even a big adventure on its own. Now, coming up next week, we're going to talk about how everything started to get pieced together down there once we actually picked up with our unit. Because if you remember when I told you guys that I had asked the instructor down there at MCT what a field artilleryman actually did. Well, he said, you're going to go to the field. It's in the name. You're going to spend your life out there in the field. And we're going to start that because as soon as we got there, the very next week, we were already going out there to the field. We were told that we're going to go out there, do training, out there in Camp Pendleton. And then in 2 weeks, we're actually heading out 29 Palms, California, to go out there for a month. So it's starting to get interesting. And it's going to get even more interesting once we actually get out there and start learning a lot more about what the artillery and all those things did. All right, but pretty soon we're going to go and start getting to a lot more fun and interesting things. So again, any of you have any questions, anything like that, by all means, leave comments down here. So that way, if you have any things that you want to talk about, let me know. That way I can bring you into the conversation here on the podcast, and we can have a discussion regarding maybe some of your guys' experiences that you had while you were in the service, or if you're still in the service. Maybe you want to share some of your experiences, talk about a lot of the things that you went to. Don't worry, I'm not going to have a flashback while I got you on the phone. I'm not going to I got a little control switch down there. I can put it on safe. I mean, it only clicks off safe if need to be, but it's been a long time since that's happened. So until next week, I am Miguel, the Gunny Signs, saying Liberty Call.